Mallory, how's your week?
It was good. I worked throughout all this. I played Animal Crossing for pretty much all my free time. And that's about it.
All right, Mr. John?
I'm quarantined.
You've just been staying at home, huh?
No, I've just been playing a lot of video games. What did I start doing? Started GTA 5 again, because why not? I'm gonna beat Bloodstained. Still Watch Dogs 2 and Last of Us.
All
so
right.
That's a lot of video games.
Yeah, so there's yours. Josh?
Cool. So the quarantine continues, and because of that, I had a very busy work week. Because I do work for a hospital.
Yeah,
so.
Thankfully not, like, with the patients directly all the time.
Yeah.
At least you're not, like, in Ground Zero, you're just next to Ground Zero.
Yeah.
But...
Just on
Ground Zero adjacent.
Yeah, so I'm just the techie side of things. I try to do everything
but
from
still at risk than most.
Yeah.
Still at more risk than most.
A very animal-filled week, because Animal Crossing, so I've been playing that. And then I also watched all of Beastars.
Hell yeah, Beastars good.
Nice.
Yeah.
The anime that I posted about, and then no one cared, and then it came out on Netflix, and then everyone cared. Like, the story of my fucking life.
Yeah,
but anyway.
Well, you showed me two episodes.
But Josh listened. Josh was a receptive young lad.
Yeah, so he showed me 2 episodes, and then I was like,
I'm going to watch the rest of this.
Yeah, I was like, I'm just going to watch the rest, because I'm really curious. It's really good. I mean, I think the only moments of criticism I have were almost every time Legoshi like smelled something, and then it went into that animation.
Yeah,
it was like,
they really liked that for some reason. They liked it a little too much.
Yeah, I kind of felt it was their way of stretching the budget, because I mean, for a 3D animated anime, it looks pretty good, much better than how like Berserk looked. Who could that be? But it was great. And then small things, like the hen. I love the part with the hen.
The hen was cool.
Yeah.
I think the part of that anime, and this is only light spoilers because it's literally episode 2.
Yeah.
So light spoilers for anyone who's gonna get super butthurt about episode 2 spoilers. The part that catches most people off guard, where they're like, "Oh, is this just going to be some Zootopia shit?" Is the usual har coronavirus joke. Wow, you're fucking a legend, right? Because you made that shit up. Because you're joking during fucking a pandemic, right? Is the part where, like, the bunny chick thought that the fox wanted to fuck her. I mean, the wolf. The wolf, wanted to fuck her, and then they were just like... a lot of people, when they watched that part, they were just like, oh, okay, this is like... Yeah, right, this is not for kids.
I can definitely see the parallels.
No, I see the parallels.
It's certainly a much darker kind of...
but it's one of those things where my thing with parallels is, where do you draw the line, right? Because it's like Star Wars has humans, Star Trek has humans, the Village People had humans. It's like, if you really want to draw parallels to fucking everything,
according to the
you can kind of connect everything. So it's just one of those things where I'm just like, yeah. But I do get it, especially the very apparent parallel. I get that. So it's fine. It's fine. But yeah. But anyways, what else? Anything else other than that?
I think that was pretty much it for me. Yeah. But yeah, I definitely recommend the anime. So.
Yeah, it's super good, and now it's on Netflix for everyone who already owns that and doesn't watch anything on it, because I think most people have it they either have someone's account, they have their own account, and they have one that they're either paying for or not paying for, and it's just sitting there because everyone, the obvious Netflix joke is you just get on there, you add a bunch of shit to your queue, scroll around for a bit, and then fuck off and go to sleep or play something else, whatever. But anyways, Alex from Tanuki said, how was your week? Let's just we're just gonna roll in.
Yeah, it was very eventful. I was temporarily laid off on Monday, unfortunately, but it was ironically fortuitous because I've been trying to make time to move into my new apartment, so I used that time to do that.
All right,
there you go.
And I've just been playing Grand Blue Versus and Doom.
Nice.
That's been my weekend.
Good choices.
Grand Blue Versus, that's good stuff. Did that start off as like a gacha thing and then grew into like a proper game?
I think it was originally a gacha, right?
It is a gacha game. It's like all gacha games. It's borderline predatory.
Yeah, gotcha.
But it's beautiful.
And
gorgeous. The fighting game is actually a lot of fun.
That's good.
So yeah, I've been having a blast.
Yeah, no, it's nice to see them convert something that was a very that was as predatory gacha as it gets when it was out in that form. So it was nice to see them salvage, because it always had good art though. That was one of the drawing appeals of it, even when it was in its shittiest state. But it's nice to see them salvage it into something a little bit better, because that's what Arxis, right, is the one who worked on Grand Blue. Okay.
Yeah, for the fighting game, it was Arc System Works.
So,
which some people have told me, like, would this be a good way to kind of get into Guilty Gear? I was like, not from what I heard.
Not from what I've heard either. I've only vicariously through Wooly heard about stuff from it, so I haven't played it myself, but I have heard definitely that's not.
I haven't had a chance to play Grand Blue Versus. It looks great, but I hear it's a lot more slow paced compared to the usual ArcSys.
Very fast. Fucking DB Fighters or fucking
Guilty Gear or Lost Blue.
Yep.
Yeah.
I will say that it's not a terribly good introduction to air dashers like Blaze Blue or Guilty Gear, but it is actually a fairly competent introduction to fighting games in general. It teaches you how to use buttons, it teaches you how to space, it teaches very, very basic universal skills and ways of looking at a fighting game. So if you're not into fighting games and you want to get into it, this is actually not a bad starting point.
Yeah,
nice.
Definitely.
Okay, cool.
All right. Then for my week, I played before Animal Crossing came out, obviously, because there was that, but I played After Party, a game I waited. It came out late last year for PS4 and otherwise, and I like the art of it, and I like the trailer and everything. For those who don't know what it is, I want to link the trailer below. Or should I link my video? Yeah, I'll link my video. Anyways, it's about two kids who just graduated from college. They somehow it literally just jumps into it, like it's pulls a swerve and you're in hell and you're trying to get out of hell. It's pretty bad. Now I'm not even going to go into the technical sides of why it's bad, because on Switch it runs like shit. There's a part where anytime there's the lava and you're on the little boat taxi thing going through the River of Styx, it drops to 1 to 5 frames per second, and it just starts chugging. Now in my video I did put the disclaimer that at that time I had only played on handheld, but then I played docked afterwards and it still runs like ass. So for most of it there's just the occasional chug, but anyways, I just said I wasn't going to talk about technical specs, but yeah, it runs like shit. But the other problem I had with it, in terms of just a game, so even if I was playing it on PS4 and it was running smoother, which I'd assume because I didn't play it on PS4, it just didn't grasp me. It's not one of those things where, Life is Strange, for example, when you first play it, it's these very unrelatable suburban white kids and their really weird lingo, and then they, whatever. And so at first I'm kind of I recoil and cringe, but then as the story goes on and as the characters develop, I learn to love them, despite the fact that they're saying, that it's obviously a 50-year-old white dude writing lingo for hip minority kids, right? So
that is the worst.
Yeah. So despite that, though, I still grew to love the characters and I gave a shit, and then the story swerves and feels still hit me. In After Party, no matter how much I dove into it, I didn't care, because the people that you're supposed to be, the pro tags you're playing as, it's Milo and Lo, I believe, were the names, because that's how fucking memorable they are. It was just really, they're really shitty people, they're actually, bad people, so I didn't feel like I cared if they escaped hell. And then I was just man, between the frame drops and bad character writing, I don't know which one bothers me more. Now, it was made by the developers who made Oxenfree, which is a shame, because Oxenfree is an awesome game and that had a very good story with a character I cared about. This was the complete opposite side of things. The humor is lands flat a lot of times. It has that very pun-filled humor, which I'm not a fan of. I've never been a fan of puns, but not good puns either. At least sometimes if something's a clever pun, I'll cringe, but be whatever. I'll give you credit. This one I can't. It's a bunch of lol hell, and it's just very on the nose with its humor. Yeah, don't care. Lola does the thing. She's a person of color character. I believe she's supposed to be black or whatever, and she way too many times, just 3 instances in the first hour, she does a thing where she goes oh, white people would get away with this. Oh, white people, I make that humor, and I'll do that because especially when it's true. But here it was very ham-fisted. It'll be no call for it, and she'll be yeah, in Babysitter's Club, white people, and I'm just no one. Why? Why did you make this connection?
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, what's up?
So I'm assuming race relations is not a genuine theme of the game.
Correct.
And they're just kind of shoehorning in that anecdote without the overall theme.
Yeah,
that's terrible.
Yeah,
bad.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is like when that's done well, you know, and there's games that do take race relations into the forefront, and then it does it cleverly. This one does it in a way to be like, oh, watch out, she's the black girl that doesn't like white people. Whoa, and it's just like, oh wow, what a creative character I've never seen in any stereotypical thing before. Yes, she does.
With a septum piercing.
Probably, if the graphics didn't look so bad, I would probably say yes. I just couldn't tell. But anyways, that was bad. Yeah. Animal Crossing's awesome. Been playing that lately. Now, well, you know what? I'm going to say that I am going to make my first impressions video, so I'm not going to spoil it all now. But what I will say, though, and it's going to be a main point in my video, is it's definitely a slow crawl from the previous entries. Like, this is definitely... I don't even know if this would be the best Animal Crossing to introduce someone to, but... just to get them on the boat so that way you could play with everyone else, it is, you might as well. But I will say it's probably not the best first impression. In fact, I did get a friend to buy it, and they're not digging it. And I kind of don't blame them because it is really slow. And that's kind of what their biggest complaint is. They're just like, why am I doing the same task for like 3 hours? And I'm like, you're supposed to love it though, because if you played this one, you would have been like, oh, I'm going to get this. You kind of anticipate, right? If you're playing the game with a sense of anticipation to get the axe, to get the slingshot, to get this, you have a goal that you're striving for because you know where the game's going. I can see it, though, from someone who's never played Animal Crossing that's going to be like, what's so fun about this? I have a net and a fishing pole. This sucks. Like, I can see why someone may not like it.
Why do I keep having to make axes?
Exactly. And that's another thing. Jim Sterling, I can't wait for Jim Sterling's video because I already know he's going to lambast it for that for sure. His fucking weapon durability or item durability is always bullshit in most games. He made a very good argument as to why it's not a good thing, especially in certain games that never had it before. And this is one of those games that introduces it in this game. So it's another mechanic you have to get used to, is going back to the fucking shop and crafting one again and going back. I play a lot of games that give you menial bullshit tasks like that, so it doesn't bother me too much. But again, I would say that it's fair for people who this is their first one and they kind of get turned off. I'd say that's fair. Because it is one of those things where the people who are enjoying it the most have all played one already. Yeah. It's just what it is. I don't think it's a good one to jump into, but again, no one else is really playing the old ones anymore, so you really don't have much of a choice. It's play by yourself and try to get caught up on the 3DS, and then the Switch one will already be in the past and everyone's already done playing it, or jump in this now and risk maybe not digging it too much. So, I don't know. Now, I do know a few people that it is their first and they love it. You know, it's all subject to, you know, personal taste, but I can see why some people didn't like it, because it is really, really slow. I mean, I did play Death Stranding, so it seems like light speed compared to that. But, you know, there's that. So one interesting thing that came out of the quarantine, have you guys seen marble racing? So this was a thing that kind of was already a thing before... Yeah, this was already a thing before the quarantine and everything, the whole coronavirus quarantine. But it is something that's gotten very popular because of it. If you look that shit up, it's fucking wild. Because there's so much of a budget now. It used to be just what it sounds like, marble racing. That's all it is. But now it's like, got multi-angle camera shots and a fucking fake audience with little stones and everything and the audio and everything. It's got better production value than WWE's had in like 15 years. Nice. So it's one of those things where it's just really, really interesting. And speaking of that, have you all watched WWE? So WWE's been shit for years, obviously. Yeah. Arguably since it was not WWF, it's been bad since then. Have you guys seen it since post-coronavirus WWE?
I've just seen clips.
I've seen the Stone Cold meme.
It's fucking amazing because there's no audience yet. They're coming out and they're just coming out like, yeah, fucking all these fucking fireworks and shit, and there's no one and no one gives a fuck, and they're coming out. They're just supposed to be like, you know, or they'll do promos and they'll just be like, yeah, I'm Sasha Banks, fuck you, right, everybody? And it's just fucking dead silent, and it's just like, it's actually a lot more entertaining this way. Jeez. And like, I don't know, man, it's actually pretty hilarious.
Makes me want to watch it.
And the fact that WrestleMania is coming up and it's still gonna go is gonna be the fucking best, dude. Gonna be the greatest fucking, like, the fact that there's gonna be a cage match with nothing, a no holds barred match with nothing, like, it's gonna be the best. The fact that Vince McMahon is so stubborn and would rather risk all his talent getting coronavirus than to cancel and lose some money that he can totally pocket. Who knows? But anyways, Olympics are still a go apparently because Japan still has yet to officially cancel it.
Yeah.
The what do you call it? The Emperor, is that what they still have over there?
Yeah.
Is apparently, it's still too early to tell. Coronavirus might not, we don't want
that this is a decision for the emperor, not the prime minister.
No, it's the prime minister, whatever. Whoever's in charge over there.
Well, if it's their prime minister, if it's still, what's his name, Abe, like that.
It would be the decision of Shinzo Abe.
Okay, yeah,
Okay.
fuck that
So
guy.
there's no signs of cancellation yet. But it also could be one of those things where they are trying to see the state of things by the time the Olympics draw closer, and the fact that they don't want Akira to be right. So there's that.
I love Dying Light. It's a great game.
And then finally, oh shit, I meant to send this to Alex earlier, but I'm going to send it to him now, like the very professional cast that we are. Oh shit. Last month, in fact, early last month, when the whole coronavirus thing was starting to come over here, because back in January, nobody cared because it's overseas, and then now it's here fucking February, and everyone is freaking out, and then now March, here it comes, and everything's... Mallory,
I'm sorry.
this is why... Okay, anyways. Jeez. Right. So what was I saying now before that happened? Right. So early on, when everything was starting to be really fresh, there were a lot of scares, rumors, whatever, of like people who had it, so on and so forth. And one of the people that was very rumored to have it was, of course, Steph Curry, right? And so... what he claims, of course, is that he just has the flu. This is just a thing. It's coincidental that coronavirus comes around and he happens to be sick during it. Now, that doesn't make him more subject to it or whatever, right? Anyways, they had a press conference, and it was the fucking funniest thing because in the press conference, it's so clear that Steph Curry is about to cough, but he is so self-aware as the PR professional that he is that he just straight up cancels it, like fucking... Some people put Guilty Gear effects over it, where he fucking straight up, like, fucking...
The RC shit?
Yeah, and then they add all that shit, and he just straight up... But it's so funny, I couldn't do that. If I was gonna cough or sneeze, there have been times at work where I'm like, I better not, because everyone's gonna start freaking out if I start coughing, but I have to, because I'm gonna cough. He just straight up... And that's it. He, like right toward he just looks. He looks towards the direction. Just like, anyways, what's up? Like he just keeps going, which is that shit fucking cracked me up so bad. But Steph Curry.
I'm now in the process of trying to find this Guilty Gear cop gift.
I know. I needed to find that. I couldn't find it before the cast. I was trying to find it. I'll link it below if I can find that one. But yeah, that edit was the fucking funniest one. So is that all? Yes, that's all the non-relevant. The not gaming use stuff is out of the way now. All right, so let's see. All right, Alex. Story behind Tanuki Suit. Tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, and how all that came to be.
My name is Alex Wong-Kamek. I am about to be 34 years old. I grew up in Massachusetts. My family's from Hong Kong and Germany and Poland. I am a first-generation American, so I grew up speaking multiple languages, which messed with my head, and to this day causes me to screw up when I speak English regularly. I started learning music when I was in high school. Tanuki Suit came about because I had been in a career band. I was a career musician in this band called Therefore I Am out of Boston. They were signed to Epitaph Records at one point. And I was out of music for a number of years after quitting that band, and I just had the urge to just play again. Tanuki Suit actually was kind of a joke when it started. I called up Tony and I said, hey, I know you have like a home studio for demoing. I want to come down and play some stuff. And we recorded some things, and we were having a lot of fun doing it. And he's like, hey, you want to just do more songs? So we just started like writing just nonsense. And we never at any point took it seriously, hence the concept of the music, all the video game references and stuff like that. And we named it Tanuki Suit because we thought that name was really bad, and it made us laugh. So yeah, that's how Tanuki Suit came into being. It was just I had an itch. Like after like 2-3 years being out of music, I just wanted to do something again, and I specifically just wanted to have fun with it. I wasn't actually looking to make money. I released the album originally for free. I just wanted to do something. That's how that came to be.
All right. Any original aspirations when you, big influences when it comes to when you got into music in general?
Music in general? I think the album that got me to like want to play music was Iron Maiden, Peace of Mind.
Oh,
I
Nice.
think it was
Very nice.
that's the album with Trooper and Stillborn. That's what I heard that album and I was like, yeah, I want to play guitar. That's what changed everything for me.
Nice.
But growing up, I played mostly metal, mostly post-hardcore. We toured and played with bands like The Receiving End of Sirens, Cadence, Vanna. We opened for As Cities Burn, My American Heart. Paramore was just getting started when we were blowing up. I think Haley was like 16 at the time. As far as musical influences go, in like the prime of my playing, I would say The Bled, Alexis on Fire, definitely Glassjaw. Glassjaw is probably my biggest influence.
All right. How about nowadays? Any particular music or acts kind of got your ear more recently?
So the music I listen to is not even like rock or post-hardcore or metal. Like I've been listening to a lot of pop. If I had to like say who my favorite guitarist is to listen to, I would still say Mark Holcomb from Periphery, and because his phrasings and the way that he visualizes music and his instrument are just wholly unique to him, and it's definitely affected the way I play. But as far as music goes, I'm really into electronic and pop, and I've been trying to get that injected into my own sound. I've been listening to a lot of Before You Exit, Great Good Fine Okay. I don't know if you guys have heard Rebecca Black. Would you guys remember Friday by Rebecca Black?
Yeah.
I haven't really heard of like the new stuff.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything past that.
So her actual music now, like as a career musician, she's actually amazing.
Oh, wow.
She has a couple songs I want you to listen to. She has a song called Closer, a song called Anyway, and these songs are like truly amazing. Like I almost cried listening to them because I'm so proud of this girl, just shutting everyone up and putting all that hate behind her and just doing what she loves and like really just owning it. Like her music now is incredible, and she's an amazing musician and singer. Pop has been my game as of the past year or so. That's what I've really been into.
Cool. I was gonna say, when you mentioned that, you could definitely kind of tell a bit of that with your most recent track, "The Island," since that one has a lot more synth kind of vibe than a lot of the other, previous tracks of yours.
Yeah, that one was a great experiment. I was actually secretly writing it when I was writing The Witch, and I had already written The Witch when I was in production for The Witch at home. I was writing Island on the side, and Island was actually supposed to be a metal song. It was supposed to be like a hard rock post-hardcore song, and but I was originally writing it on synths just for reference. And the more and more I listened to it, I was like, I really like the way this screws. I really like the way this feels, and I found myself subconsciously trying to emulate all the things that I was hearing in pop and synth and electronic, and I was like, why don't I just roll with this? I owe it to myself to try something different.
Yeah. No.
And given the subject matter of the song, I felt it was more appropriate that way too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it was really good. Are you gonna try to go that direction with any future albums or anything like that?
That is a good question, and I'm not sure how to answer it. I can tell you what I hope to do. Whether or not I do it well or at all is subject to question. But so I guess my dream would be to perfectly infuse the sound of Island with the sound of a song like The Witch, where it's really 50-50. Like every song is like a perfect marriage and blend of both traditional analog music as well as electronic and synth. Like that is the goal. I as opposed to writing more stuff specifically like Island, I want to take what I did well with Island and put it into other things and have it perfectly complement, other elements that aren't electronic.
Yeah.
But before we get too far from it, because you made a very interesting thing, because I didn't know about that about Rebecca Black, right? So another person that comes to mind in terms of novelty over talent was Carly Rae Jepsen. For those who don't know, of course, Call Me Maybe. That one-hit wonder, of course, just like Rebecca Black's Friday, kind of overshadowing the rest of what they did. And one of my friends, Joseph, he was genuinely into her. And at first I thought he was doing it as a meme, but then I kind of listened to more. It's not really my type of music. It's kind of like more indie, like, you know, kind of like pretty hipsterish shit, I guess. But it's actually pretty good, and I was kind of like, damn, it's one of, like, both Rebecca Black and Carly Rae are both in this, like, boat where they got pinned to this one sound or song, and now their actual talent was totally eclipsed by that one moment, because neither of them, I would say, are really being heard or taken as seriously as they should be, especially in a post, you know, because both of those basically just became big memes, basically, both of those songs. So that's a shame to hear that happened to both of them, basically, because, they've definitely changed a lot.
It's funny to mention that, because I had thought on that, and I don't know, I can't say for certain if that is a consequence of the actual songs they produced, if that's a consequence of just how music is experienced and digested by greater audiences, or like how the music, I feel like it's a combination of things. I feel like music as a medium and an industry really does lend itself to one-hit wonders and one-off, you know, superstars or mimetic superstars, you know, in which you just hear this song, and whether or not you like it, it's catchy enough where it just kind of gets drilled in your head, and everyone, you know, picks up on it by osmosis. I feel like it's a phenomenon almost exclusive to music.
Yeah.
You never talk about game developers in the same breath when it comes to one-hit wonders. You never talk about film directors or actors in that same way.
Yeah, it is real weird, because I know Patrick and I talk about this a lot, like baby metal, for example. A lot of people say, like, oh, they don't like it, but the only song they can reference is was Give Me Chocolate,
which is arguably their worst song.
Yeah, it's not even that great. Like, even like I don't like it, but you listen to their other stuff is like they're talented.
Yeah, even their latest album is fucking incredible. Like, it's crazy, like, legit, like, and that's the thing too, because this is gonna kind of like become a multiple string thing. But one, there's that, right, where there was that whole argument, and this is the thing that why I have, like, totally left the metal community, basically, which is where my roots are as well. But just that whole, it's like music xenophobia when it comes to, like, everything else is only metal. And a lot of people ran into that with baby metal, where it's like one of those things where what is less metal about them, which I know what you're going to say, it's the whole that fucking the little girl voices or whatever. But is it any less metal? You know what I mean? Like, the whole thing is, like, they are a metal band and they make metal music, right? And I would argue that a lot of their songs, even with, because I'm not a fan of the really cheery vocals either. Like, Sumo Metal's awesome. Like, I'm like a fan of the main vocalist. Like, I think, honestly, I could do without the little, like, which they have kind of cut down on in their later stuff. But I still don't see the argument of how many people were just like, oh, that's not real metal. Oh, that's not real metal. Which is a term you hear thrown around in that community very quickly, even to each other, you know? Oh, Black Sabbath, that's so old. That's not even real metal. Real metal is and it's just like, is it though? Like, you know what I mean? Like, one could argue that that's more metal. Like, when I think of metal, for example, for me, I think of stuff like Maiden or Judas Priest, Rob Halford, like that. You know, that's what I think of when I think metal. I don't really think pig squeals and screaming is like. I think that's more of like a subset of that.
Yeah, it's certainly not the end all be all.
Exactly. So that's why when people were just like, "Oh, baby metal's not real metal," I'm just like, "By who?" Which is why I like the fact that Matt Heffy of Trivium, Rob Zombie, Rob Halford, several people did speak up for baby metal. Not that they really needed it because they do have a pretty big fan base, but it was still nice to see like the OGs of metal basically come up and be like, you know, why? Are you more metal? What do? You fucking eat Doritos all day? Like, that's metal? Like, you know what I mean?
Metal
like,
incels.
Basically metal incels, and that's all it really is, you know? And the other section I was going to talk about, like what you were mentioning about how music is like a very unique spectrum in terms of there are so many things that are like either a problem or a thing in terms of an element that you can only talk about in music, you know, like you said, that doesn't really relate in parallel to video game or movies, is the fact that, you know, again, whatever strikes when the iron's hot, or something that kind of comes up, and because everything's all really trends, especially in the United States. Like, for example, Backstreet Boys, big here in the 90s into the early 2000s, faded into obscurity. What a lot of people don't know is that in Europe, and especially in fucking Japan, the Backstreet Boys never went away. Like, they released banger after banger, platinum album, Oricon chart, like, topping hit after the other. And so when they came back in fucking like the whatever when they had the New Kids on the Shit fucking tag on there for no reason because no one gives a fuck about them. But they just fucking were like, yeah, us too. We're coming back. Who gives a fuck? No one gives a fuck about you. So when the Backstreet Boys came back, I found that kind of funny because that was very American marketing in terms of like, we're back, even though they never fucking went away. Yeah. Kevin went away for a while, but not the rest. Yeah, I know a lot about Backstreet Boys. Leave me alone.
It's almost like in America, like music has to be like spoon fed to you.
It does
because like I said before, I had that huge pet peeve when people try to tell me like, well, you know, no new good music ever comes out these days. It's like you're probably just listening to the crap on the radio. Like always shit to explore.
And even Filthy Frank made Joji or George or whatever you want to fucking call him made a very good video about that. Where even on his other stuff at its most nonsensical, he made a video about that where he was just like, I hear this crap all the time, like, oh, music was so better in the 70s, music was so better in the 60s. You're just listening to shit music. Yeah. Because there is all sorts of good music. I listen to all sorts of artists that I think are incredible all the time. I think that my musical taste development has gone so much further than when I just stuck to one genre. One genre with its subgenres was still not enough as like flexing on everything else, you know? Yeah. And of course, everyone knew this was coming. I'm going to tie it into it. It's kind of like the whole thing with K-pop, for example. Like, that's obviously been a thing for a while.
Do you like K-pop?
But at the same time, it took a while where everything just had to be just right in the States for it to succeed here, where it's like actually topping the charts now. You know, with BTS, everyone, whether they want to hear about it or not, sees BTS on their trending Twitter feed, sees BTS eclipsing Rihanna, Drake, and Nicki Minaj like they're nobody on the fucking charts. Like, album sales fucking like who? Like, you know, like they've never seen before, you know? But that was a thing that people have been trying for ages, that didn't quite, land here. For example, J-pop, for example, when that was much bigger in the early 2000s especially, they really tried hard to push that here, but it just didn't click and catch on. And I could do a whole video essay about why, because there's a whole thing on that, why I believe it failed here versus why K-pop succeeded, a mix of timing and, more or less xenophobia between cultures and stuff like that. But that's the thing, is that, like, with music, for example, it is one of those things where you just look at the trends, for example, like back when metal was actually pretty popular in the States, when Motley Crue could hit number one on the fucking charts, basically, Yeah. And I know someone's going to be like, Motley Crue's not really metal. Well, fuck you. Stop with that. We just talked about why you're a piece of shit, so there's that. But anyway, so Tanuki, so there you go. Music essay. That's the thing. Music conversation can fucking go everywhere, basically.
It's the music cast.
It could go, But,
music as an industry, more so than it is as an art, is extremely nuanced and situational. There's no absolutes. It's like you said, the timing is a huge factor and variable. You've got to be at the right place at the right time.
Yep, absolutely.
And as far as people saying, there's no good music and people not hearing good music, I mean, let's face it, we're in the information age now where everything is readily accessible, and we're also in a period of time where self-production is easier. Yes. So what I honestly think part of the problem is, as much as it's enabled me to do well, part of the problem is there is no centralized medium for people to all explore together in order to find new music. The market is also very, very, very saturated with a lot of like no-name bands. Mm-hmm. It's very, very easy to get lost in that sea of stuff you've never heard. And it also means that a lot of people who are really bad have just as much chance to get discovered as people who are very good. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, music, like the landscape of music has changed insanely rapidly over the past 10, 15 years, and the industry has not been able to keep up.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So, I mean, that's what you're looking at.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Have you? I know you've been very busy with the whole current situation, plus moving and all that stuff. But have you been in any recent time games you've been playing lately?
Ground Blue Fantasy versus. I'm still playing Tekken 7. I'm excited for Kumla on Tuesday.
Nice.
I'm loving Doom. What else have I played recently? I don't know. I haven't played. I haven't played much. Because I was really just waiting on Doom. Mm-hmm. I've really just been working up until last Monday, and moving and yeah, honestly, working on some new music that I hope to get done maybe in the next year, but who knows? But I want to hear from you guys, all of you, about what you're enjoying about Animal Crossing individually. Like each one of you, what aspect of that game do you like the most? Try to sell me on it because I haven't played an Animal Crossing game. I think I've only played about 20 minutes of New Leaf, and that was like 4 years ago. So try to sell me on Animal Crossing.
I already did a bad job earlier.
Yeah.
I already did a bad job earlier because I already said why you should. So I'm not. Yeah, and John hasn't played it. So yeah, Josh and Mallory, let's do this.
All right.
You guys redeem it.
You go first, Josh.
Oh, you want me to go
Yeah,
first?
you go first.
Damn, putting me on the spot.
Yeah.
It's so hard to explain. Like, it really is. One of the things I like is just... It's almost zen at times. Because there's no real goals to it. You know, there's the goal that everybody says, like, well, the goal is to... You know, release yourself of debt from this, you know,
like you don't have in real life.
Yeah, but I mean, there's no rush. He ain't hounding you.
That's what's nice. I wish it was really like that.
Yeah, there's no.
I didn't pay rent in 3 months. I guess I'll throw him a bone.
Yeah, there's no interest or anything, so you can kind of go at your own pace, and you're just walking around. You can get fruits and sell fruits.
It's weird. Okay, so I'm gonna interrupt real quick.
Yeah.
This is the gift and the curse of Animal Crossing. It is hard. It is the hardest fucking...
Yeah.
Okay, Yakuza. Crazy...
So Yakuza...
Right, so yeah.
Yakuza.
Yeah, when Mallory's not fucking falcon punching my stack of PS3 games, I play a game called Yakuza, where it's like, Yakuza, gangster man and his mishap adventures, while also doing like a serious goal and the inner turmoil of gang life.
Yeah.
Fucking Doom. Marine Man, go to hell, stop hell bad. You know what I mean? Like, you can kind of explain it in a nutshell what most what most games are. With Animal Crossing, you just sound like a fucking insane person. You get fruits and you bring it to the raccoon and he gives money.
And you give him, you sell him for money. You give him back to him.
You own raccoon rent. And you live house, but no need pay right away. You sound like a fucking asshole, right? Anyone on Earth who's ever tried to describe Animal Crossing to anybody else sounds like the biggest fucking asshole on Earth. And it's just, again, the gift and the curse of the game, because that's also why we love it, right? It is because we know we're going to meet up with Tom Nook. We know that he's going to con us into some bullshit. We know that we're going to lose hours and hours and hours of our life to it. But it's because we're initiated into the cult already. It's hard to get other people to join the cult. That's the problem. Anyways, you're saying.
Yeah.
So why else should we play Animal Crossing?
Well, another thing too. Is
all right.
You don't have to. I mean, some people will just like spend hours and hours and hours grinding it, but you can just kind of pop it up and you're just like, all right, let me just do these, and then I'm just gonna take a break. Like, there's really no rush to really do anything. Unless there's, like, certain timed events or whatever. But
right.
Yeah, but it's pretty chill. It's just a pretty chill game.
Yeah, and I've heard Zen Garden used before, so...
Yeah.
Mallory, perhaps you can give a more succinct and concise pitch on this game today.
You clearly don't know Mallory, but here we go.
Right?
Okay.
That's why I made Josh go first.
Oh, jeez.
So for me, it's the nostalgia factor. Like, I've played every Animal Crossing.
Bad. You have to sell him on it. You can't tell him about nostalgia and be like, you know this game you never played? It's so hype.
I mean, this is a process. Maybe by articulating this, Mallory will come to the conclusion and find out what she values most in it.
Right, so, no, it's fun because you don't even realize that you're spending so much time doing these little, like, menial tasks, but then, you know, you end up spending 3 hours, you know, walking around, digging up fossils, taking them to the museum. That's probably my favorite part.
Chopping down every tree.
Yeah. You know what? I did replant the trees, guys. I started a whole orchard because of y'all last night.
Like, we just show up and there's no trees.
Yeah, Mallory hates
stumps
forests
everywhere.
Mallory hates nature.
I was like, oh my god, it's the Amazon. Shit.
Smokey the Bear was scared of you.
So like you get to see the actual progression. Like, I know in most games you see like the end point, but there's not really an end to it. You just keep building up, and you know, you get to make all this cool crap for no reason. That sounds bad, but it's just like cool. I don't know how to explain it.
I would say if you want to cry, go look up that Animal Crossing mom video.
Oh God, don't do
What?
that. Don't do that.
That's a very sad. You'll get some feels. Oof.
But like seeing the museum built up.
I love the museum.
Yeah, once you get it to that point,
love
it's
the
like
museum.
amazing. So it's just watching the progression of like you having nothing, and then you have like that house with all your stuff in it that you've picked out, and you know, all of the museum, going to the different desert islands, going to other people's houses. My favorite thing is pissing off my residents, especially Agnes. I built a whole like moat of holes around her house because she was mean to me. She's nice now, so that's cool. She now talks to me and not like, I'm busy. She's like, hey, how's your day? I'm like, what up, Agnes? Don't mess with me again. I'll lock you in your house.
Sims.
You can go to other people's places and, you know, get different presents from them. You can also send letters to people. I sent hate mail to Agnes because she was mean to me. She's now nice, so it's slightly worse. But like, so I have two residents. One is Boone. He's a baboon. He's really into fitness.
We all have a fitness person, but they're all different animals.
Yeah.
I have a fitness person, but they're a deer. Who's your fitness person?
He's like an eagle or something.
See?
He's
Well,
like
we all
he's
have
a
a
blue
different
bird.
one.
Yeah. I think his name was Pierce.
Pierce.
I like talk to him. He's like, "Yo, what's up? I'm gonna run laps
You know,
around the island." I'm like,
you know who that
you
person
do that,
is,
dude.
though? If that person was real in this time, it'd be the person who's posting on your feed, and all of you guys have one of these people who's just like, wish I could go to the gym, but Corona, am I right? It's like, work out at home, you fucking piece of shit. Like, don't make a fucking excuse for why you can't work out. Get the fuck out of here. Yeah, no, I see everyone's seen that shit on there. You know.
Oh, yeah.
But anyways, yeah, Agnes sucks. Okay.
Yeah, so, but I also love, like, all the little characters that are in there. So, like, all of us have different residents that show up. And, you know, you get to spend time with them. You get to torture them if you want with hate mail.
Still waiting for KK Slider. Yeah, that works.
Right. I don't know. It's kind of mind-numbing, but it's, like, really enjoyable. That's how I would sum it up.
I was really scared that Mallory said that she was going to put, like, a piece of wood in Agnes's front lawn and light it on fire.
No!
But
Oh my god.
No.
You're just gonna put tiki
Can you
torches
do that?
around
My
it?
sister has an Agnes, and she's super nice to my sister.
wait,
I
she's called
have-
Agnes also?
Yeah, she has the exact
Same
same
one.
character.
But
her-
is she called Agnes? Because
Yeah.
they're not all the same person.
Yeah, no, it's called Agnes.
Okay.
I went and
Yeah.
visited her on my sister's island. She's super nice to my sister.
Wow.
And then my sister got a robot ostrich.
Now, Mallory,
Oh,
as your
robot
therapist,
ostrich.
is Agnes the problem?
Right.
Yes.
All right,
But
so
yeah, it's just very hard to describe because also like
It is.
she mentioned the museum. That's always been one of my favorite things about Animal Crossing. There's this owl named Blathers, and
Yeah.
you dig up fossils and you catch fish.
he's
and
totally not
bugs.
prejudiced against bugs.
Yeah, not at all. And you donate them to him, and he's like, "Cool, I'm gonna put this up in my
And he gives you
museum."
really cool facts about them too.
Yeah,
he tells you
little
he'll go into
stories
a whole
about 'em.
explanation about them.
Like if you give him a centipede and he's like, "Yo, yikes, fuck this thing."
Yeah.
You want to know about it though?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. He
You want to
really
know
hates
about
bugs.
this horrible like thing that goes against God
Yeah.
and everything it stands for?
As a bird, I
Yeah.
hate this. Confirmed.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. We're at the 47 minute mark. Okay. Let's see. He talked about music. He talked about any current TV shows or any movies that you've recently seen that caught your interest.
You guys were talking about Beastars earlier, and I've done some reading on that, and I hella want to watch it.
Good. You should.
Yeah, recommend it, man.
Animal Crossing.
I watched I watched a video, I can't remember by who, and they were talking about how the anime handles the allegory of race relations and species relations very, very well, because it makes it very clear that allegory is not one-to-one. It can never be. And that's why Beastars works. It never tries to trade species for race, which is a problem that other movies have run into, because that's just not a thing. You know, humans are humans. So the fact that Beastars handles it in a very unique way is actually really, really refreshing. So I've been wanting to pick it out, but I have not had a chance yet. As far as movies go, I don't go to movies because of social anxiety.
Don't worry, no one goes to movies right now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no one's there right now. I would love to see Parasite when it comes out because I found out it's the same director of The Host, and The Host is one of my favorite Korean films. So I definitely want to see that. Have you guys seen Parasite?
Hell yeah, it's so good.
Yeah, it's good shit.
Have you guys seen The Host?
Negative.
Mm-mm.
So his what's his name? Bong Joon-ho.
Bong Joon-ho, yeah.
So about holy shit, I'm aging myself. It's about 14 years now since The Host came out. 10 or 14 years. It's a monster movie, but it's like half comedy thriller, and it's on top of being terrifying, it's also genuinely really funny and poignant. So I recommend that everyone see The Host. The Host is a great movie. It's a lot of fun.
There you go.
Dope.
Have you guys seen anything recently aside from Beastars?
Aside from Beastars, what the fuck have I watched else lately? Honestly, I think Beastars and Parasite would have been the newest movie and the newest show I've seen.
Yeah, I know we watched. Yeah, I know I saw Parasite. Was it a few weeks ago?
Yeah, we watched it a few weeks ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Oh, I did see that Tom Hanks Mr. Rogers film.
Oh right, you did.
Yeah.
How was it?
It's good. It's pretty nice. It was a bit of a swerve because I kind of thought it was going to be focused more on Fred Rogers, but it really wasn't. So that was real interesting. Like, the story is about the journalist. Like, it's really about him, but, being around Fred Rogers, like, he has, like, the impact, though. Mm-hmm. So I guess he's kind of like what's the word, like a catharsis of it all or something.
The term is interest focus.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but yeah, it was good. It was a pretty interesting film. It kind of hit a little close to home because it does involve like daddy issues kind of stuff. So yeah.
That's an interesting thing with films that go into those type of things, because I am very fortunate to come from a very stereotypically happy family, like, same, original parents still, like, grew up with a brother, high middle class, like, you know what I mean? Never, kind of, I wouldn't say silver spoon's very fair to say, but a good life, right? Yeah. And so it's very interesting to hear people who can relate with subject matter like that, because it totally does, and this is not some weird flex or anything, it totally does go above my head when I watch stuff like that. Like, for example, when we watched I don't want to spoil too much, but anyways, we watched Parasite, and there were a lot of issues that family had. I couldn't relate I couldn't even think about being in a situation in which I would be desperate enough to do anything, like that or whatever. So yeah, but what about you guys? Do you guys watch anything else? Because I obviously didn't. Anything?
I watched On My Block. I finished that. It's 3 seasons on Netflix. Mm-hmm. It's like if the Goonies lived in the hood. So, for me, it's like hilarious,
Okay.
I'm
scared that it's racist.
No, it's like a really cool concept, because, like, it's 4 kids, right, and 4 kids, and they all grow up together, but they all grow up in the hood, and, one of them becomes a gang member and stuff like that, and it's really weird.
I'm scared that it's racist.
I don't know. I really enjoyed it.
Okay, the reason I'm scared that it's racist, because when I hear The Hood, I think of Leprechaun the Hood, and that movie's extremely racist, so
it's not like
that's why.
But that was really good, and then I watched, I started Self-Made, I think that's what it's called, about Madam C.J. Walker making her own hair care products, and on Netflix, and that's really good. She like totally challenges everybody and has this like boss bitch mentality, and I love it. So
boss bitch.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then today I saw The Three from Hell. I finally saw it. The Rob Zombie movie.
Oh, I've heard it's not that great.
No, it's kind of.
You guys shouldn't have done that. I wanted to hear her say it was hype, so then we can say and shit on it. You guys are asshats. Damn it! You're supposed to let someone be like, "It was the best movie I saw." Fuck that movie. That movie sucks.
It's not the best one out of them. I mean, it wasn't terrible. Like, I'd probably watch it again.
It's kind of terrible.
But You know?
It was bad.
Okay.
You know what? I just really love those movies.
Thank you.
I did.
Thank you,
before that.
thank you, Valerie. Mr. John, did you watch anything?
I'm sorry, y'all are negative Nancy's on things.
Negative me?
Anyways, John, go.
How dare you be positive and uplifting
What
about
did we do?
something?
I watched all of Archer, started Weeds, Ozark, Altered Carbon, started that.
Altered Carbon's fine.
Yeah.
They had like a weird like anime. I don't know if that's any good.
It's
but, like,
not bad.
Okay.
It's
Is it from the Need for Speed universe or some shit?
no, it's. I think they actually tried to tie it into the Ghost in the Shell universe. No, the volume
the
was
whitewashed version or the Japanese one?
the subtitle or the dub, not the sub.
What?
The re-release.
What?
Wait, there's a re-release of Ghost in the Shell?
Mm-hmm. There's a re-release of the animated one.
Oh.
But it only comes in dubbed or subbed? Is that what you're
Wait,
saying?
I'm confused now.
Because there's the original one, and then there's like a re-release one they released a few years after
So they
that.
never
I think.
dubbed or subbed the original one?
Are you talking about?
I don't
Are you
know.
talking about the new Ghost in the Shell series that's coming out soon?
No, because I always see on Vudu there's like two options to buy two different versions of Ghost in the Shell.
I mean, there is a... Okay.
Because do you want to watch
so
it
here's what I
dubbed or
think-
do you want to watch
Yeah,
it
I was going to
subbed?
say, I think this is where the problem's coming is, like, for example, with Godzilla, right? If you go in the Google Play
Yeah.
Store, Godzilla is available in English, dubbed, or English subbed. But it's the same Godzilla movie, it's just available in subbed or dubbed. So I think that's where the confusion's coming.
Maybe.
Yeah,
But anyways, so you saw that.
it was cool.
Okay.
I liked it.
Okay.
I would watch again, maybe. Just once.
Did Rob Zombie
once.
make a Ghost in the Shell movie?
Shut
Oh.
up.
Okay, anyway.
That would be weird. It's like just Ghost in the Shell, but like spooky white trash.
If Rob Zombie made Ghost in the Shell, it would just be like a bad AMV. Did I am the one fucking they're running around. Okay, anyways. Jesus Christ. And before we go into the news segment, Alex, what video game soundtrack is like, or several, if you really just don't want to call out one, what video game soundtrack is just like that fucking soundtrack that you always can go back to and super love?
Street Fighter.
Ooh.
Okay.
That's a good one.
Solid.
Everyone in the world. I mean, Street Fighter 5 is trash.
Hell yeah, it is.
Yes. Preach.
It's one thing to listen to the MIDI music of the original Street Fighter, like Alpha 3 and Super Turbo, and it's actually really good. But you can't truly understand what they're going for with MIDI instruments.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that they have full production now on their music, I think everyone needs to listen to Street Fighter 5 soundtrack. Listen to Ken's theme. Listen to specifically Karin's theme. Listen to Sakura's theme. Just listen to Street Fighter music, and you will be blown away at how good it is. Street Fighter music is the greatest stuff in the world. The Tekken 7 soundtrack is actually pretty solid.
Yeah.
Everyone knows the Doom soundtrack is amazing. If you're into gent and if you're into industrial metal like Ministry
Hell yeah.
or KMFDM, I definitely recommend Mick Gordon's stuff on Doom. If you want like metal, get anything but done by Andrew Holschultz. He's worked on Wrath. He's worked on Dusk. He's worked on, I think he's working on, what the hell is that called? He worked on Quake Champions as well. But yeah, as far as, and of course Persona 4 and Persona Q.
Yeah.
Persona 4 and Persona Q, Shoji Meguro. If there is like one composer out of Japan that I think writes amazing music, it's Shoji Meguro, because there's so much attitude and flair and style to his sound. He clearly just writes what he wants to write, and I have a lot of respect for that. If anyone's into Persona music, and if you don't have a 3DS, please check out the theme song for Persona Q. It's called Maze of Life, and it's easily his best work ever.
It's a great song. I have literally like teared up listening to that song.
Maze of Life?
Yes.
Dude, it's hard to say that's the greatest Persona song of all time because there's like 50
too
of them
many.
that are all like A tier. But that song is really, really, really special.
Mm-hmm. Now, it's just, like, what gets me is, like, when you listen to the lyrics, and then, I've played some of Persona 4, I never beat it, but, just knowing how Persona 3 ends, and, these characters are in there, like, yeah, it's an emotional song for me, personally.
Oh, yeah, P3 is super feel bad.
Yeah.
P4 is still my favorite Persona, though. Nothing will ever change that, I don't think.
Yeah, I still need to get through that one. I've only gone as far as... I think the last thing I did was recruit Kanji.
Oh man, you got so much more. You have like 60% of the game.
Yeah, you still have
go.
the game.
Like, I'm really hoping that they'll port Golden, because it's only vanilla Persona 4 that I've been playing, and I would love for them to port Golden over.
Yeah,
I'm telling you right now, you can find a Vita TV for like $20 online.
Yeah,
you just buy it. Like, just buy it, because like you will get like 200 hours into one playthrough. It's like the Vita TV with just a cartridge for Golden will pay for itself. I'm telling you, it's worth it.
I don't know what the fuck happened to my fucking like 2 moves ago. I fucking lost my fucking Vita TV, which sucks. Yes, because that thing was cool. It was the only way to fuck it that I had. Because I sold my Vita because I don't really like it that much. But like the Danganronpa games before those got ported to Steam, and then Persona 4 Golden and everything. Like, yeah, absolutely. Like that'll pay for itself already in terms of like if you can find. That's the thing. It depends on where you look, because some places are reselling the PSTV for like a shitload too, depending on where you go. But if you can't find one for cheap, it's definitely worth grabbing. And then the games themselves aren't that hard. They aren't that expensive. So. Yeah, because Vita failed.
Before we move on to the news segment, I would like to turn the question around on all of you.
Oh yeah, that's what I figured.
If you all had to pick a game soundtrack, what would you pick?
Oh yeah, Mallory. What? Mallory walked back into the room. What video game soundtrack favorite?
The first Kingdom Hearts.
I hear that's actually really good. I've never played a Kingdom Hearts game though.
All right.
But I hear it's really, really good.
John?
Pass.
Pass.
I gotta think about it.
John's gonna be like, Halo.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not Halo. Like, no.
Okay, Josh.
There's so many.
There's a lot. But
yeah.
What comes to mind?
I mean, it's hard to narrow it down to soundtracks, but I mean, Yasunori Mitsuda or Nobuo Uematsu, like, great. As I've mentioned before multiple times, Shoji Meguro, fucking amazing. It's like so difficult to narrow it down. Daisuke Ishwatari.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, it's a lot easier for me to explain composers rather than specific soundtracks, but
isn't there? I'm sure there's like a soundtrack that really hits home though.
Oof.
I know several, but I mean, there's got to be one where you're just like, you just hear it and you're just like melt. Like,
yeah. Oh man. That's so difficult.
It is. Because, I mean, you like the Persona games, you like fucking, it's just a lot of, fucking, like, Guilty Gear.
Yeah.
Well, I'll let you think about that. I'm about to circle back to John, but before we go back there, for me, that soundtrack would probably be Final Fantasy VIII soundtrack. Like Fisherman's Horizon, fucking Eyes on Me, like all that stuff. It's just a solid soundtrack. Like, just the other day, when I was playing Animal Crossing, fucking... I just kept thinking of fucking Fisherman's Horizon when I was fucking fishing for fucking hours like an asshole. So that to me is a soundtrack. Asshole is the thing. So I was trying to avoid saying fuck, and I said asshole like a fucking 10 times.
Sorry,
10 million.
You're still saying fuck a lot.
Oh god damn it!
Yeah, we're up to 8. So
well, fuck.
Uh-oh, shit. Okay,
that's not even counting while she was away.
Okay.
Right?
So Mallory and I both answered. It's going to cycle around again. John, what video game soundtrack?
Tied between Horizon Zero Dawn or Last of Us.
Okay, so more modern. That's interesting.
Okay.
I mean, I think there's a lot to be said for, and this is coming from someone who does not like The Last of Us. There's something to be said about the minimalism of that soundtrack and how the music allows scenes to breathe. There's definitely something to be said about setting tone as opposed to taking the stage.
For sure.
So I think The Last of Us is a very good answer.
A true BGM, if you will. Yeah.
BGM. I think I can narrow it down to 2. Probably Final Fantasy VIII or Chrono Cross.
Cool. So some square goodness.
Yeah, so Chrono Cross, the game itself
is not as good as Chrono Trigger.
Yeah. But,
it's fine.
But, I mean, the art direction, like the style of it, music, it's just great. I mean...
Did Uematsu do that or no?
That was Yasunori Mitsuda. So, though Nobuo Uematsu did help him with some of the songs for Chrono Trigger, but of course it's one of those things where Chrono Trigger you have Super Nintendo, Super Famicom, MIDI sounds, and then you got Chrono Cross PlayStation orchestral. One thing I especially love about Yasunori Mitsuda is that a lot of his songs will involve the classical guitar, which is just really great. So there's a lot of beautiful songs from that soundtrack. And then so many peaceful songs in there, too. It's just really great. I've actually also been listening to an album from OC Remix where it is music influenced by Chrono Cross, and that has been a really good listen
original
to.
music influenced by Chrono Cross, or
So
remixes?
it's a lot of remixes.
Okay, still straight remix. Okay.
Yeah, but they'll add vocals.
I thought that would be an interesting idea too, is like more of a concept album collaboration between several artists versus.
I think there might be some that might be inspired, that
and
might
more
be original,
OC.
but
okay.
but a whole bunch of them they are kind of remixes. They'll
still
add
heavily using the melody or whatever.
Yeah, and they'll add vocals. There's some. It's like they're instrumentals. There's like synthwave mixes and stuff like that. I have it pulled up on my Google Play. It's Chronoopolis, music inspired by Chrono Cross.
So go check.
Over OC Remix. A lot of that shit's free. So.
Yeah, and a lot of shit's pretty good.
Yeah,
there's a lot of stuff on there, but like any free site. But there's a lot of good stuff on there.
Yeah.
So yeah. All right, before we get into the news, where can everybody find you, Miss Mallory?
You can find me on Instagram at awesome_Mally.
That is the correct one. John?
_ Evil Dead Guy.
Josh?
Twitch, Twitter, Instagram at Joshiro Joestar, YouTube Shiro Play 5.
And Alex Tanuki, where can everybody find you on the internets?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Tanuki Alex spelled Aleks, because there's no X in Polish. And then just search Tanuki on Facebook and YouTube, and we'll come up.
There you go. And we'll also link it below, so that way you guys can make sure to check out all this stuff. Make sure to support the good old artists during this drought of bullshit time in the Corona land where Mallory was just coughing over here. Well, nobody could hear that. I'm going to call it. I'm just joking.
Yeah. It's a shame we missed that day where Bandcamp was doing was it like no tax?
Yeah, I know. I kind of wish we were like, because Bill Beats and everybody dropped some stuff on that day, and that would have been really great for us to be like, yo, check it out if it's already in the past.
Yeah.
But still pick up some stuff. Throw them a bone. It's during this time more than any.
Yeah.
That even with the Bandcamp cut taken out, which I believe is like 15% or whatever, they could still use it. So help them out.
Mm-hmm.
Help out artists, especially right now. Don't be some bullshit fuckers on Facebook who put support local artists, support my Twitch channel, and then not don't ever want to fucking share a podcast. Fuck you. Okay, so let's see. So going into the news,
we're not talking about anyone.
Oh man, yeah. So you can find all my stuff at ZD Rocker, SlimationEntertainment.com, and DisconnectedCast.com. There you go. Going to the news first off. Final Fantasy VII Remake. There was a lot of concern that was expressed by the fan base of if COVID-19 was going to push it out and delay it like many games have been. Square Enix has said that it's going to be a go. It's April 10th is still going to be, that's the for sure date. Okay. However, if physical releases, limited editions, and all that stuff get delayed because of COVID-19, there's nothing they can do about that. But as far as the digital release and the regular retail release, they do plan on still releasing it April 10th, so you will finally get it. I am very, very, very curious, because I didn't want to play the demo because it's so close already, plus I have Animal Crossing, and then I could just jump into Doom, until then. But I'm very curious how much of this, because now it went from being a single game to a trilogy to an unnamed amount of Final Fantasy VII releases that they're now going to do, which means this could take fucking 20 years to finish.
Jeez,
that seems super, super gross.
That's the thing.
It's going to become the next Game of Thrones.
Basically. And so I am excited, and I do and don't get that thing. It would have been nice if they just did a play-by-play, updated visual, stuff like that, which was the original intention.
Yeah.
But I also do see the point of fleshing it out more, because I did wish there was more I could do in Midgar than just go down the slum street and just go like, oh, here's a restaurant I can go to. Oh, I need to get this from here and stuff like that. So I do like the fact that they are expanding it more. They have basically said that this is gonna... They're turning Midgar from a 10-hour section of the game into a fucking 80-hour game.
Jeez.
Which is really interesting. But I can also see the opposition to that, because again, you are taking a game that was maybe 80 hours to 100 hours, and you're now stretching it out into a 1,000-hour game, because you're taking it section by section and turning that into its own game. But as a fan of that particular entry in the series and that world, I mean, obviously I'd like it to be done to 8, but let's be realistic. It's not going to get that support. We're lucky we got that remaster.
Yeah.
So with 7 just being the best bet at getting one where they can do this, I do really want to see what they are going to include, because they pretty much also shown, Don Corneo, and then they also showed that they will have the cross-dressing part with Cloud, and then the fucking gym dude bros and everything. So it's interesting that they are staying true to all that stuff. But what else are they adding? There is also only so much you can do before it seems like it is too much. Before you do feel like, oh, why am I spending 80 hours in Midgard? I'm very curious if I'm going to have that reaction or if I'm going to have a like, wow, this is actually really, I'm very curious because I'm definitely going to do a really in-depth look on that because one, this shit took like 10 years to come out like every other fucking Square Enix thing. And then two, is it going to be a good thing or a bad thing? Because I think this entry will set the roadmap for the rest of it in terms of like if it's going to be good or bad. So we'll see. So that's still coming out April 10th. Make sure to check that out. Platinum Games, Bayonetta, Vanquish, all that good stuff. That collection just recently came out, so if anyone wants to check that out. They did say that as they are going to start releasing more independent titles, they are actually also working on their first in-home engine. So as opposed to running on something else like fucking Unity or fucking
Unreal or something.
Yeah, Unreal or whatever, they're actually going to they're working on their own engine, which if they put any amount of care into work like they do their games, I'm very, very curious to see like the physics engine and that and everything else. So we'll see, but they did say that that's a big part of their project right now because they've really finally been able to expand and actually have some money going in because most Platinum games just don't make any fucking money. Wonderful 101. Yeah. I'm probably one of like 1,000 people who literally just like it like has some of the shit. I think it had like one of the shittiest game sales ever, like record, like not ever, but like one of the shittiest like sales ever. So because Wii U plus obscure game equals not good sales. Call of Duty Warzone has been given solo play. So obviously, you have the 150 in units of 3. Now they did a more familiar to the Battle Royale scene of like Apex or rather not Apex, but Fortnite, where you're just like one versus whatever. Yeah. But it's just weird now because it's like 1 versus 150. That's just like a fucking lot of people. When it was like 3 people units, that made sense. But like the whole like 1v1 fucking times 150 seems like a little too much. But it's nice to see them kind of accommodate for that particular scene of people who weren't into like squad stuff and they do want to just fly solo. It did come out only like a week after the game came out, so that's also really interesting to see them. Usually games like that, you'll see them really focus and push the main mode first and then add a secondary mode or later on rather, but it's nice to see them actually just drop it in there and be like, oh yeah, so you're not digging it, whatever. Not like they really needed it because they are one of the most successful battle royales behind Fortnite, having garnered 15 million players in 3 days of the game dropping. So obviously they're not hurting for like needing to accommodate for anybody, but it is interesting to see them go that route. To take a little bit of a pause there, for anyone who has seen it, because we looked at the gameplay a bit, and for anyone who is familiar with any of the Call of Duty games, which is again what I like to call the most okay series of all time, do you guys have any intention of checking something like this out, or is just Battle Royale not even an interest on any of y'all's plates at all?
Man, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, Josh doesn't play Battle Royale, or shooters in general, really.
Destiny? Nah.
Light on the shooter on that.
Yeah, I'm a little light on the shooters.
I don't really COD.
No, but Battle Royale, not COD.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be cool. I like Battle Royale, but it's COD, so I'm kind of like, whatever.
No, I don't really play it. I watch people play, but I'm usually reading a book because I don't like those.
Wow, what a fucking loser. Anyways, Alex,
reading
is good.
What if they did a Halo Battle Royale? What would be your thoughts if they did that?
I might actually be interested
supposedly
in that.
coming, so we'll see.
It's supposedly in the works.
Yeah, that's what.
Well, there is a new Halo game coming, so if they're going to do anything that literally everyone else has done...
It'll randomly choose what armor perk you get.
That'd be kind of...
No, everyone will just have fucking stupid-ass shield armor lock bullshit, and everyone will just do that. It's going to be a battle royale of armor lock.
Everybody armor locking.
Everyone's just going to fucking do that. It's going to be the most cringy game of all time.
Break your
but Alex, much experience with any Call of Duty, shooters in general, or battle royale games?
I mean, I've played some Call of Duties casually, and I've never played a VR. I have no interest in playing VR, so I will respectfully abstain from trying Warzone.
There you go. So it's just one of those things where it's built for a certain demographic of people. It's not trying to win anyone over. It's only the most popular genre in the world, but you don't need to get on.
Yeah.
You just don't need to. They don't need you because obviously they have 15 million players, so they don't need anyone else.
They're hella fine. They don't need more money.
Going on the aspect of things of more serious conversation with it, I think one thing that did help with this 15 million get so quickly is the crossplay shit. And we're going to talk about that later in the main topic, but I think that this is why we do need more games to just go ahead and have crossplay, because you do start to get these big communities in there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that did have a lot of help in bolstering the numbers, because now you didn't have to only play, oh, fuck, I don't, everyone else has PS4 at work, I don't want to fucking play with them.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things. Speaking of games no one gives a fuck about, Destiny 2 had for some reason, people still play that shit, for some reason. They had something, you can now get the fourth horseman, shotgun, exotic, whatever, that's a thing now. So
Cool.
for the 3 people who still play Destiny, that is a current quest there, something to do with Zavala, who gives a fuck. So a new game coming out, Sea of Stars, Kickstarter is still currently active. Now, I did preach a lot about, when it was just me and John on here, about this game called The Messenger, which is a love letter to Ninja Gaiden. It's an awesome retro style, which is a lot of games I play, but you know, a good platformer with introducing elements like air dashing and stuff like that, which is really cool. They are starting their own game universe type thing, because this game, Sea of Stars, which is more of a like love letter to like Chrono Trigger, it's going to be like a SNES RPG type game, is actually going to be a prequel to The Messenger. So the storylines will be tied in, even though it's not all ninja shit. It's going to be taking place like way before, I believe like hundreds of years before, but they're trying to build a universe type thing. So that's going to be really interesting to see, because I really did like the art direction and the narrative of The Messenger. So to see what they could possibly do to tie in what looks completely different of a game, not just in style, but like the way the art and everything looks in terms of like the world it takes place in, makes sense that it's so far before. But it's like, how are you going to tie this? I'm very curious to see that, how they're going to do that. Now, if you do want to back it, it is on Kickstarter right now. Sabotage Games, the studio that makes it, they're very good on keeping their word. They released The Messenger on all the platforms, including Switch, PS4, Xbox, Steam, blah, blah, blah. So they're very good at keeping their promise. They're currently at $207,000 of their $92,000 goal, so obviously it is already, it's a go. They're going to make it. And they did their funds very well before, so I don't see them misappropriating those funds, so definitely go check them out. There's still like a couple of weeks left. So I would definitely say to back that. Microsoft is introducing proprietary memory cards. Now, there were a lot of things where they kind of had the people who wanted to shit on Xbox already were ready to go and kind of gunned a little too early and didn't do the whole story very clearly. These are going to be optional storage. You can still, there is USB, and you can still use external drives like you do on the current generation PS4, Xbox One. But the advantage of these proprietary memory cards is, one, the size, so you can go to a friend's house. Apparently, they haven't confirmed the exact size of the units yet, but they are also going to be solid state. So that also is going to be a very, very big advantage to, again, having... Yes, it may not be a 5 terabyte hard drive like what I have plugged in there, but when it comes to load times and everything, the fact that you can kind of take that data on the go with you to a friend's house, that's kind of convenient. So I see where the market is for it. Now, where it could suffer, solid state tech, even nowadays, is still really expensive. Yeah. If you want a good or high capacity solid state drive, if they can somehow crank in 500 gigs or a terabyte on a card that's about the size of a PlayStation 1 memory card, that's probably going to cost a fuckload. And I think that therein lies where they might think that it might be. Now, it also has its own port, which is interesting, which when people saw the back of the Xbox Series X, people were like, what the fuck is that weird rectangle port? Yeah. Now we know what it is. So it's a memory expansion slot. It already comes with a terabyte default in both the PS5 and the Xbox Series X. That's such an exhausting name to say. Yeah. But it does come with 1 terabyte, but you got to think about it. With how much games grew in this generation, where you have Red Dead 120 gigs and stuff like that, games are probably only going to be bigger on the PS5 and Series X. So because of that, is 1 terabyte actually a lot? Yeah. It would be now, but is it really? So that's one of the things. With bigger games and everything, the fact that it could also cost more, we'll see. But if you still want to stick in with your external drives, it does have USB 3.0, so you still can do that. So it's just an option, because not everyone... Pat from Castle Super Bees made a very good point where once you get used to the speed of solid state, it really is hard to go back. Like, my OS on my current computer runs on solid state, so that versus my regular hard drive, when I run shit off that, it is a huge day and night difference between how stuff reboots. Like, when I reboot this computer, it's like seconds, it's already gone all the way through. So it really is a big difference. But it's very interesting to see them kind of bring back that tech that seems to have been forgotten ever since there's been internal drives and the ability to hook up external hard drives. So it's weird to kind of almost see a loop in time. Like, you always see a loop in trends. So we'll see how that works out. Because both the original PlayStation, PlayStation 2, and then the original Xbox all had that weird memory card expansion bullshit. So, and even I believe 360 had the little memory cards as well. So it's not even that far away, but it almost seems like a weird step back. But it might not be. It might be a way to the future, especially if they can make it cost effective. But we'll see. GameStop. Everyone's favorite company that is doing so well. Now, the flames that I was going to stoke aren't really relevant anymore because they've already ceased their bullshit. But for a while, they were still going as far as the CEO to say that they are an essential company that does need to continue being active during this COVID-19 crisis. Now, there's several things that are off about that statement. One, GameStop being essential to anything is a questionable statement. Second of all, the fact that physical games have been going down in need/want over time in the last, it's been on a progressive downslope because of the convenience of digital games and just being able to go ahead and click a button and buy it versus going out to the fucking store or waiting a day or two to get it. So the whole... I didn't see any argument to essential. And of course there was a lot of media outrage as well as employees being like, what the fuck, am I exposed to this shit? Mm-hmm. As of today or yesterday or whenever that was, this little air, they have since, of course, sucked it up because it's an uphill battle at this point. Yeah. So they went ahead and they have now reduced it to curbside delivery /pickup / whatever.
Like door delivery, I think.
And so it's been reduced to that kind of stuff now with only also essential staff. So pretty much if you're part-time or seasonal, you're fucked because you pretty much have no job. It's only the full-timers, the managers that are doing these services. So there's that. It's just crazy to think that GameStop, dying company, would even try to argue that they're essential to anything. It was just such a madman. Now, of course, what it is again a dying thing, grasping for breath. They need every dollar and everything like that, which other companies have been brought to that scrutiny. There's a certain company I can't talk about for I don't want to get fired, but there are certain companies out there that just continue to keep chugging through, despite the argument that some people may have that we really do need to keep physical contact very limited, and big box stores do cause people to congregate. Mm-hmm. It's just what it is. One of my favorite ice cream shops, Josh and I just went to recently, even they have a thing where they're just like no more than 6 people in here at a time. Mm-hmm. Period. You see 6 people, you fucking wait outside. When they leave, you can come in. Stuff like that really needs to be practiced a lot better. Now, that's not to say that some people are thankful because they still have a job, they still have income, and they still get to pay rent. But at the same time, you still are more at risk. So it really puts that, capitalism versus smart living, you know what I mean? Where you kind of have to juggle the two and be like, whoa, which one do I really care about more? I don't want to get evicted, but I also don't want to get COVID-19. You know what I mean? It's a weird thing. So to see GameStop just fuck around in that is absolutely atrocious. At least some of the other big box stores, I can see their arguments. With GameStop, I don't see any argument as to why they should be open.
It's really fucking weird.
So them and Best Buy are now doing that, minimal contact shit. In fact, most of the fucking delivery apps have updated themselves to leave at front door, their minimal contact. I believe Grubhub or DoorDash, I saw for sure, and then I believe Uber Eats also introduced it, where now instead of just putting your address or whatever, you can just put leave at door, and they'll do that because minimizing contact. You just really have to practice it. I saw really good...
Just ding-dong ditch it, yo.
Basically, that's what they want you to do, which is the instruction.
Everybody's just dropping
everybody?
Shit.
Is everybody doing it?
It's just me tonight, guys.
But anyways, so an interesting thing, that this is going to be semi-spoiler for people who haven't, played The Witcher, because that game isn't fucking 1 million years old already. Aww. But The Witcher 3, there's a point where Ciri falls through a time slip, or maybe it's a dream, it's kind of ambiguous, but she basically comes back and she explains the world as this crazy place with flying things and glass eyes and lasers and shit like that. Blah blah blah. And so
Cyberpunk.
Yeah. I don't know what John said. I just heard and so I was like, what the fuck?
Does this actually happen? Does this actually happen in the game?
Yeah, so
really?
So she explains that. Wow. So here's the thing.
That's cool.
So a lot of people are like, oh right, so is Ciri going to appear in Cyberpunk.
Oh, yeah.
The director of Cyberpunk hates this shit. He would rather get COVID-19 than ever hear that question again, because what happened is the director of The Witcher and the director of Cyberpunk, they're two different teams.
Yeah.
They don't work on the same game together. They're both independently, whatever. The guy in The Witcher was just like, yo, this would be dope if this happened. I'm putting it in there. And so the guy from Cyberpunk was like, what the no! You're not in my game!
Yeah.
So,
the plan.
so basically every single time he gets asked that, he gets to tell them, no, this isn't fucking a thing. Siri never went to Cyberpunk world. Fuck off. Stop asking me about that. She's in Witcher and Witcher alone. Like, it's some bullshit thing that the dude did to troll me, so stop fucking asking me about fucking whatever. So yeah, that's not going to be a thing. It's just a one-sided idea that the Witcher dev thought was going to be cute that the Cyberpunk devs was just no. So that's not going to be a thing.
Very cute.
I just think it was funny that they did that because, like, her description of it's so obvious she's talking about Cyberpunk. It's just fucking funny that the dude just did that as a thing. So a random story I wanted to tell that I heard about that I listened to recently was Wooly from Castle Super Beast used to be a game tester, and he has a lot of interesting tales or whatever. But he talked about when he worked at when he was working for one studio in a testing team, and there was this guy on there, just like Sony fanboy as a fucking Sony bitch-ass fanboy can fucking get, right? And I've met that guy. I know a lot of Sony onlys that are the biggest piece. Oh, of course you would.
Yeah.
That are just actual asshats, right?
Xbox player.
Yeah. So this guy was just very vocal, right? So, he hated Nintendo. Fuck, I don't even think Xbox was out at the time, kind of think of it. But he definitely hated Nintendo. This is the whole, where the story is going, right?
This is a long time.
And so they were, in their studio and they're testing, and this guy's just really vocal about it. He'd always be like, yo, this fucking PlayStation, what do you do? Play fucking Zelda Wow Wow Baby shit? Yeah, fuck that game. That game's shit. And so this guy's very, very vocally, Sony only. Mm-hmm. And so one day in the studio, they're all working, and I was just like, having to deal with this asshole. And someone's fucking text tone, ringtone, whatever goes off, right? And it goes da 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 da. Nice. And Sony man goes, fucking hell! Turn off that dumb Nintendo bullshit! This is fucking stupid! I don't want to hear your baby fucking tones from your dumbass Nintendo game. And everyone is just like, looking at each other like, you fucking for real? Are you fucking like actually serious? And then so, as everyone's kind of just murmuring, and it's just like, I don't get what the big deal is. Why I can't hate Nintendo. I don't want to hear your shitty tone. And like, he just keeps going. And he's dead serious. He doesn't have any idea or recognize the fact that how many Final Fantasy games are on fucking PlayStation. Yeah. And this dude is just fucking raging so fucking hard. And it's just, the fact that people like that exist are insanity. Like, they just sound like a big old fucking meme, but it's actually a real fucking person. So that shit made me laugh. Several devs are having free or discounted games during this time, so definitely check it out. PlayStation has a huge sale going on PS4, and then of course on PC there are several games between Steam and Epic Games Store that are currently free. The Tomb Raider and the Temple of Osiris or whatever, as well as Tomb Raider
OG
like
Square
or 13
Enix was like giving
free.
them away.
Yeah, so you can get those games. There's a lot of them. Grab them while you can, so that way you got stuff to do while you're in quarantine. Blade Runner. There was an old Blade Runner game like from ages ago that apparently is getting like an enhanced / remastered version. That and Fahrenheit / Indigo Prophecy are both getting physical releases from limited run games. So that's really weird because one, I didn't know that Blade Runner game came out, and then the other one, why? It's a David Cage game. But anyways, those two are coming. I remember John and I we did an LP that just never aired of fucking Indigo Prophecy, and the reason it never aired is the game just like fucked up and just we got to it. Actually, the game died. Like we couldn't progress anymore because the game was fucked.
Were you playing it on PC or what?
We were playing it on PC. Yeah. At the time we were playing it on PC.
Yeah, because it was Fahrenheit.
Yeah, we got it from Good Old Games. That was probably one of the arguably the better ports of it. Which yikes. But anyways, we didn't get to the part where you fight with like cockroaches and ticks in the Matrix world or anything. Or we didn't get to the part where your furniture's flying around and attacking you.
No, we didn't.
But we did. We got to that part.
We got stuck at the army base when you were a kid.
Oh, okay, yeah. Because the guy kept like appearing. Yeah. That game sucks. And we were talking earlier about the whole Beastars does the thing where they talk about how race and like the thing parallels that just doesn't work. David Cage and fucking Detroit Become Human, aka I Had a Dream Android, does the worst job of like where Beastars handled it so well. David Cage, even though I would argue that Detroit Become Human is his best game, that's like saying very little because it is the most upfront. Like one of the first things you do is the android goes to the back of the bus.
Yeah.
Right,
beats
just,
over the head with it.
Right then and there, huh?
Just right then and there, within like the first, it's just
Okey-doke.
they go there. Then you eventually do a thing where you're doing, oh yeah, spoilers, whatever. You eventually do a thing where you're doing a raid and there's a fucking fist that basically you could put a quote that's pretty much legally distinct. I have a dream.
Yeah.
It's really bad. Like they just really go ham-fisted of like this is really androids versus humans, blacks versus whites is 1-to-1.
Do you join a faction
but of
called
course,
the Android Panthers? Or
basically, pretty much. And so when they get called out on it, David Cage is basically tries to just fucking shittily argue his way out. Oh no, it is not. This is not what I mean. It is, there is no race in this. This is clearly android versus human. It is separate struggle. And I'm just like, no, shut the fuck up. Like it is clearly what you were trying to do is you thought this was going to be some fucking Harriet Tubman revolutionary thing, but it wasn't, and everyone called you out on your bullshit that you were just trying to fucking piggyback and get a few coins off of a fucking racist struggle.
But he's woke though.
Huh?
He's woke though.
Yeah, David Cage is the fucking he's woke. Echo is available on the Overwatch PTR. I don't know if she's going to be out by the time this airs or whatever.
My brain immediately jumped to the dolphin.
I know. I really wish that this story was about Echo the dolphin, so it was something I give a fuck about. But anyways, Echo, she's the weird like robot thing with the hologram face. She can, shoot projectile. She got sticky bomb. She has like a main focus beam, and then she could fly around like Mercy or Pharah. Now, the one thing that is interesting about her is her ult is she can replicate someone on your team.
Interesting.
So that part is kind of interesting. So basically, when she uses her ult, she will emulate. If you have a McCree wearing the America skin, she will become McCree wearing the America skin, and can temporarily con you like that.
Huh.
So it's really really interesting. Another thing too is that her ult meter does go up faster when she's in that form, so she can pretty much deadeye you or whatever pretty fast or whatever. So that part I did find kind of interesting. So at least there's that. But other than that, I mean Overwatch,
Neat.
I guess.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Speaking of stuff no one gives a fuck about, Stadia is on sale. I think the sale will be over by the time this airs, so you guys will have missed out on that. Now,
why isn't that free for Corona?
Right?
So with Stadia,
you'd think it would be free.
You would, right? Now, how much
Who the fuck is buying it?
How much do you guys think? So the Stadia retails at $130 for those who don't know.
Oh.
Fuck.
How much does everyone think?
Oh my god!
How much do you guys think they lowered it to?
One.
$125.
Exactly, $100. It's
Oh,
$30.
man.
During this epidemic, Google figured, hey, you're at home, you
Slice
probably want a
$30
Stadia, right?
You probably want a Stadia.
Yeah.
Are they giving away the free? Are they giving away free ones to the people they canceled on?
No,
No,
they
because
just
they
have
didn't
to
pay
buy
for
one.
it. You can spend $100 to get a system that has no games and doesn't work for a limited time only.
What
So,
a steal!
Yeah.
For Google.
Right?
Man.
Xbox, Larry, Major Nelson, Herb, had to make it very clear that they're...
I hate the fact that you reminded me he still exists.
I know, right? Well, this story reminded me, so I had to suffer too, so everyone gets to suffer. He had to go ahead and tell everybody that despite their ads that came out that said coming Thanksgiving 2020, that actually was not true. It is coming this holiday. They are trying to stick to a 2020 release window despite coronavirus. But it isn't going to be Thanksgiving. It's just going to be holiday 2020 is what it was meant to say. So when it comes out on Thanksgiving and it was just him trying to be like, oh no, don't look behind the curtain, we'll laugh at that. But yeah, for some reason he found it important to say that even though the ad said Thanksgiving 2020, that was not true.
Okay.
So it's holiday 2020.
Cool, guy.
Wow.
Thanks.
Honestly, at this point, I really think they should just go ahead and delay the consoles to next year because this is not the time to be
May as
fucking
well.
worrying about
More
that shit.
important things.
Yeah.
I just wonder how Major Nelson still has a job.
Yeah, I know. What the fuck? Who watches that,
They
right?
don't know.
What's going on, guys? Major Nelson here. I'm playing a game no one gives a fuck about. I'm surprised you two don't. You know, right?
I know who he is.
I was gonna say you guys
Okay.
are Xbox people. You guys should
But I
know.
don't sit there and
I
watch
don't know Major
it.
Nelson. Huh?
Wow.
I'm surprised.
Yeah.
Halo Man over here doesn't know Major Nelson. That's weird. But anyways,
Who is Major Nelson?
he's an asshat figurehead of Microsoft.
He would like on Xbox. They would do these little promo videos, or they're like,
What's going on,
talking
guys?
about-
We just got an update on Xbox.
Yeah, like they'll be
Check
talking
it
about
out.
new tech or new games, and he's just some guy who just
He's an old
Old
fucking
white dude.
really old white dude.
yeah, just
And he would just try to be hype, but he was the most unhyped person on earth.
he's just like, howdy doody, fellow kids. Let's talk about some video games.
Literally. Yeah, I know, basically.
I'm Major Nelson.
Oh,
That's
God.
cool, right?
Yeah, I don't know this guy.
You know,
That sounds terrible.
He is awful.
ground control to Major Nelson, right?
Oh, God.
That's a reference.
That's a good one.
All right, so before we get into the main topic, I keep forgetting to give out the email, so before I forget, you can email us at disconnectedcastmail@gmail.com. That's disconnectedcastmail@gmail.com. And if you do that, you may be able to give us like a fucking 10-page essay like that one dude did where he said that he disagreed with us and then agreed with us. But other than that, you can also get into the conversation, which is our main topic. So we talked a while back about Horizon Zero Dawn getting ported to PC. Apparently, that wasn't still officially confirmed yet. So that was just like the rumors, but it
Yeah.
was confirmed recently. So what do you think happened, right? Like, what do you think happened? We talked about how
Sony was
reasonable... We talked about how reasonable Sony fanboys can be by hating Final Fantasy because fuck that Nintendo game, right? This was another case of Sony fanboys just fucking showing how cool Sony fanboys are at. A video came out, it was fucking, whatever the fuck they're, I don't want to plug their fucking Twitter. There's some gaming community dudes. They posted themselves destroying their computers and breaking their desks and throwing chairs and shit because Horizon Zero Dawn was a PlayStation exclusive, and Guerrilla Games and Sony are a bunch of fuckers for putting it out on PC so more people can play it because it's my PlayStation game.
No, fuck
Not a
that.
fucking PC game, PlayStation only.
It's-
So they go into this long rage thread, they're fighting with the developers, they're fucking tweeting all sorts of crazy shit, they're just going absolutely apeshit about this. All because we're 12 years old and we don't want an exclusive game on fucking PC. Are you fucking for real?
Shit over here. All right.
Yeah, dude.
No,
It's
fuck that shit, because Horizon Zero Dawn is a great game.
and
more
more people should play it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing that was like, it's a really dumb video. I think they took it off their official channel, but I'll try to link it below, but you should be able to find it. It'll be out there somewhere, obviously. But, yeah, no, it's bad. You can see there's a few articles that talk about it where they screenshot their tweets at devs, and devs trying to be like, what is wrong with us
Yeah.
porting it to fucking PC and all this shit like that? And they're just being really...
It's a PlayStation game.
Yeah, I don't know. And that was their whole thing, is they didn't really make much of an argument. Their whole thing was, it's a betrayal. Their whole thing was, this is Sony and Guerrilla Games betraying them. And I was just like, what the fuck do they owe you to not make more money off of this?
Yeah.
Even if PlayStation had their hands in the pot of this, they would just make more money on everything else. It's like when Microsoft bought Minecraft. They didn't pull it from Sony or pull it from anything else. They just said, yo, we make this shit now. We're in charge of this shit now. That's what businesses do. It was just hilarious that is their rage fucking reaction to that shit. So that shit fucking obviously went viral and everyone just called them a bunch of idiots because that's really what that is. Now, what this segues into, this totally, because we live in a society and that was great behavior. Do you guys think that there's still much of a point to having console exclusives in terms of is there really anything wrong with sharing? And does Sony's crossplay phobia still justified in today's time, especially even when there's the leading console selling thing by a shitload? Is crossplay fear or cross games being on multiple platforms? Shouldn't that just be normalized now, or is there a point still to having exclusives or anything like that nowadays?
Well, I
Is that a question you're posing to everyone here?
yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like
I think crossplay is great for consumers, and I am an advocate for it. But I totally understand why developers and manufacturers don't want to do that. Exclusives are their lifeblood. I mean, what is PlayStation 4 without Bloodborne without Horizon Zero Dawn. Was God of War exclusive?
Yes.
Yeah, it was.
So I mean, what is it without those things? It's an overpriced, underpowered piece of equipment that is extremely limited, that has bad firmware, that actually doesn't fail very often. It's actually built pretty well. But at the end of the day, you can build a computer more powerful for the same amount of money that can do more. So I think it behooves, while I don't want to see this, I think it behooves manufacturers to continue to make console exclusives. The fact that they are giving us the option of crossplay is wonderful for consumers, but I do wonder if they are weighing the chances of them going out of business in that regard. Will at some point, will they stop developing hardware? Because PCs are so superior in crossplay makes exclusives almost null and void.
Right.
Yeah, like Bloodborne was pretty much the reason I got the PS4. Because I think originally I was like, all right, I'll probably just get the Xbox One, because the prior generation I was mostly on 360.
Right.
But then once Bloodborne came out and it was exclusive, I was like, yeah, no, fuck it, I'm just getting a PS4 right off the bat. But I would think that the compromise would be timed exclusives. I think that's the ideal compromise. Like, you know, whether you let it be exclusive for a year or so. Like, I think right now, it would be great to see Bloodborne ported over to PC. You know, especially with the next console coming out. Like, you know, obviously, like, it's been years since Bloodborne came out, so almost at this point, anybody who's really wanted to play it has probably
played it or bought a PlayStation.
Yeah, has gone out and played it by now. But
so all those are very cogent points, both, you know, what Alex and Josh said. Now, the thing that even though it still wouldn't justify what the fucking, you know, Rage Apes did to their office, it is interesting though, especially what Alex's thing made me think, and then what you said of what brought you to the PlayStation and everything, right? If everything did start getting ported to the PC, would there really be much need to get an Xbox or a PlayStation if you can just play Persona, Halo, Forza, Bloodborne, and all that shit on the PC?
Yeah, that's why I kind of think the compromise is timed, because you know, because it's more of a how bad.
So basically, you still think though that if everyone does know it will eventually come to PC, that it would still, and this is supposed to be argumentative or anything. Obviously, it's just supposed to be like a thought thing, but. You think timed exclusives would still make people snag a PlayStation or Xbox, even if they know that it will eventually come out on PC, like, to wait a year? Probably. Like, basically people that fight Epic Game Store versus waiting on Steam to come out a year later, you know? It's interesting. I would really like to see how much of a market PlayStation and Xbox would have left if everything did eventually come to PC. So that's an interesting thought. Like, I never really... Yeah. You're right, exclusives do still have a home, because without them, everyone would probably just get a fucking PC.
Yeah.
There is that, Now, you, Mallory, Josh, Mallory and John, do you guys have much of a PC gaming background, or not so much?
Played Half-Life, and that's it.
Okay, so Half-Life, and
I play a few games on my PC. It's just... For me, my PC is downstairs and my Xbox is in my room.
Yeah, but that has not... Yeah, but that was your fault for putting it there. You could have also put them in the same room.
Yeah, but I mean, for playing games, it depends on what type of games. If I'm playing with, like, if I want to do if I want to play just my normal Xbox games, like, I don't really mind not being, like, near my PC at all. But it just depends on who I'm playing with and, you know, which game I'm playing at that point. Like, my Switch is easy to just take anywhere I want to go. Downstairs, upstairs, it's not a problem. But if I'm, like, sitting in my room wanting to play my Xbox, I sit and play my Xbox. If I'm downstairs, I play my PC.
I know that's one reason why I've opted to get the Switch port. Is like, I could just lay in bed playing this.
Yeah, bro, I've rebought so much shit for Switch just because, one, I want to support it, and then two, because... Fuck yeah, dude. Like, there's so many games that I actually ended up finishing because I rebought them on Switch that I was just, like... My PS4 and Xbox are both collecting dust. Like, that's, like, you know what I mean? Like last year, Judgment, Death Stranding. Those are the two games I played for PS4. This year is going to probably be fucking, whatever Platinum has coming out. You know what I mean? Like, that's basically it, but... I
mean, I bought a PS4 for 2 games, and that was Little Big Planet 1 and 2, and then, Kingdom Hearts 3. So, it doesn't really bother me to go buy it.
But the Kingdom Hearts 3 thing was kind of a problem, because it did come out on Xbox.
Yeah. Because, I mean, at first I only bought my PS4 so I'd have it for that exclusive only. Like, not that it was exclusive.
Oh, because you thought it was
Yeah.
exclusive.
Oh.
Okay.
So,
Yeah,
and then-
I remember at the time I thought Kingdom Hearts 3 was going to be PS4 only, so yeah, that was my original plan, but then I found out it was going to be on both, so that's why I was like, okay, I'll probably just get the Xbox One. Then Bloodborne happened.
Then Bloodborne happened, okay.
Yeah, because, sorry, I'd rather play Bloodborne over Killer Instinct.
Yeah.
Not to diss Killer Instinct.
Yeah.
But,
Well, and that's the thing, right, is that most people I know that I talk to that are Xbox primaries don't give a fuck about Weeaboo games. They aren't going to play Akiba Strip. They aren't going to play Grand Blue Versus. You know what I mean? They're going to want to play fucking... Yes, these are also on PlayStation, but they are going to play Doom along with Halo, or they're going to play Gears of War, or whatever. It really is for different demographics, is why they both exist.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, but the thing, yeah, no, it's interesting. I do wonder what the amount of people that would still have consoles if it only had a 1 year leg up on PC. That's very, yeah, no, it's curious. Because, like, you know, like Alex said, with the same amount of money you could spend on some of these consoles, especially if the Series X and the PS5 both end up being about $600 like I'm predicting,
yeah.
you can take $600 and if you, especially if you go on a fucking Newegg sale on fucking Thanksgiving or something, or Black Friday, you can build a pretty good PC if you get $600 buckaroos right
Yeah.
now. So.
Now, I guess one could argue that, you know, a lot of PC releases are a bit bumpy.
They are, especially in the beginning.
So,
they
yeah.
eventually end up being the better version because of modding and whatnot. But yeah, you're right. In launch, they run like dog shit.
Yeah.
Especially like fucking, again, like I mentioned, I think on the last episode I was talking to a friend, the whole Call of Duty thing ran like dog shit. Like there's that one PC port that ran like absolute ass.
Did they ever fix Arkham Knight?
Like 3 years later.
Really?
Yeah. The Arkham Knight was another one.
Because
Arkham Knight was
last
so
I
bad.
remember, they completely took it off the shelves.
Yeah, it was so bad they took
Like
it off.
digital
Yeah,
stores.
they eventually, it is on there now. Arkham
Okay.
Knight's on there now. But that one was fucking
that was
really bad. Yeah. So, yeah, PC launches are usually much rougher than
Yeah.
console. But, in the end,
It doesn't
superior.
even matter. Oh, sorry.
So, yeah. That was interesting. That was definitely eye-opening, especially considering, yeah, I guess exclusives are still important.
Yeah.
Now, you still shouldn't act like a piece of shit like these guys, but, yeah, no. But, yeah, so you know, exclusives still have a home. Now, the interesting thing about the crossplay thing is the fact that of all, you would think Xbox would be the most scared because they have the shittiest sales between Switch,
Yeah.
PlayStation, and them. But
PlayStation.
Sony's the one leading the pack by a shitload of sales, are the ones who are always the last to sign the contract. Like with
Yeah.
Destiny 2, when they did crossplay,
Yeah.
Sony literally days before finally caved and said, we'll sign. Even Stadia fucking said it, and that fucking, why? You know what I mean? Like, so, well, Stadia needs all the fucking games they can get, obviously, but,
Rip
yeah,
Stadia.
Yeah. Rip Stadia, or you can get one for $100. No, I was joking.
You
Fuck
ripped
that,
off
dude.
by Stadia.
Yeah, I
so.
seriously wonder if the trumpets are already sounding for the Stadia.
Well, that's the thing, right? With customer Google support not answering anyone's questions,
Yeah.
with devs already announcing that they're second guessing or pulling out completely if they're legally able to still pull out, says a lot. Like pretty much any support that Stadia had, where like it was already rocky to begin with, because the idea of streaming 4K games at uncapped frame rates was already a
Yeah.
dumbass idea. It really, once it released, it became very real to those who didn't just able to tell how it wasn't going to work. And so that's why a lot of devs are just straight up like, yo, we're out. like, yeah. Because even I believe, wasn't it Doom Eternal? It was supposed to be like one of Stadia's big push timed exclusives, and then eventually Bethesda said, yeah, fuck that. And then said, yeah, no, it's all coming out, whatever. And the Lord knows if Doom Eternal even came out on Stadia.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I did.
It did?
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
God, I can only imagine how bad that
Uh, Not only did it come out on Stadia, there are no commercial reviews for it Stadia port.
Go figure. Fucking go figure.
Dare I ask if you happen to know anybody who owns a Stadia?
Oh, no, I do not.
Okay.
If I did, they aren't telling me, and it's probably better that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they realize.
Yeah, I actually know somebody who owns one, and but
man.
I've only seen them talk about it on launch day.
And then never
I
again?
haven't seen them mention it ever since. They were just like,
Probably blew up and killed them.
no, they were like, well, Samurai Showdown seems to run fine, and that was like the last
See, that's
I
the
ever
thing,
heard
right? Is like,
about
I think
Stadia.
like 2 or 3 of the fucking launch titles were fighting games, and then one was Destiny 2.
Yeah.
So like those a Crucible or a fighting game on latency, like hell latency. That's like the worst games to fucking play with any latency. Even like 1 millisecond, people are like, I need to play with my nerd monitor when I play fighting games because I gotta fucking have frame. You know, the frame has to be perfect.
Yeah, I think even Dink kind of backed down on getting Stadia.
I remember he was interested, and he said he might even make some videos on it.
Yeah,
and then, like,
yeah,
that pipe dream fucking went out the window because fuck that. Yeah, no, I think it's just Google is just trying to figure out a way to avoid a class action lawsuit before pulling the plug.
Yeah,
because they've promised too much, they've delivered so little, and now they don't want to help, and the devs are leaving. How much more dead could it fucking be, basically?
Yeah.
So anyways, Stadia shit party. That's that. We will catch you guys. Oh, right. Thanks to Alex from Tanuki joining us. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for having me. This was a lot of fun.
Alrighty.
Hell yeah, man. Keep doing what you do, man.
Yeah, do the music and play the games.
I'm very good at both of those things.
There you go. And you can catch us every Monday at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. And until the next episode, we will catch you guys then. Actually, unless your stadium blows up and kills you. But until then, see you.
Bye.
Wash your hands.
Wash your hands.